Okay, so getting back into our coverage over Superman Doom, we actually pick up with two characters, Lana Lang and Steel. Now, Lana Lang, of course, we all know, she was the first love interest for Clark Kent when he was living in Smallville. Now, Steel is another superhero that really kind of idolized Superman. Matter of fact, the whole Steel persona he's in right now is him kind of being a spinoff of Superman. But either way though, you do have the two of them right now in Smallville. Now the reason why, because remember, in our last couple of videos, Smallville, the entire population of Smallville just fell into comas, and they have no idea why. Now of course, you do have Lana Lang and Steel about to leave Smallville and actually go into space. Now the reason why? To find Superman. Because remember, at the end of our last video, with Superman being the enemy of the state because the world knows that he was turning into Doomsday, he basically flew away to kind of protect the Earth because they also shot a kryptonite bomb, and that bomb was a gas, and that gas weakened the good side of Superman and letting Superman Doomsday take over the body of Superman, and so he flew away as a way to protect the Earth. But now it seemed like Lana Lang and Steel are about to go into space to hopefully find Doomsday, or Superman Doomsday, sorry. But we do pick up with the star of the book, and of course that would be Superman. Now remember, Superman left Earth as a way to protect it because the Doomsday infection is taking over his body. But with that being said, he is confronted by Supergirl. Now I do want to mention, at this point in DC Comics, Supergirl was a Red Lantern, and Red Lanterns used to be the bad guys of the Green Lanterns, but at this point it was DC trying something new, something different, to make the Red Lanterns good, and Supergirl being one of the many Red Lanterns. Now, with that being said, this is Supergirl kind of making Superman realize that he's still the greatest superhero in the universe, meaning that he needs to go back to Earth because Earth needs him so badly because things are about to get a whole lot worse. But if he goes back there looking like this, and with him being the enemy of the state, it's kind of like as soon as he arrives, he will be attacked by the American government or possibly other governments. But you did have Supergirl use a certain situation to remind Superman that he is the greatest superhero on Earth, because she takes him to an old planet. This planet is known as the Char. Now, with that being said, the Char used to fight against Kryptonians back in the old days before Superman had left for Earth. Now, with that being said, the Char's home world is about to blow up. And so this is Supergirl saying, hey, you're still a great hero. You just need a little push to remind you that you are a great hero. Get down there and save that planet. And so while Superman is going down to try to help the people of the Char escape their planet before it explodes, well, that is the moment Superman is confronted by a new villain that was literally only created for this storyline right here. I think he appears again for one more book, but that is it. But either way, that character is better known as, and guys, this name sucks so much, but his name is Harak. Now, Harak is not really a bad guy, but here's his deal. So, a year ago, Harak came to the people of the Char and told them that he is going to absorb the life energy and it will cause this planet to explode. And so he told them a year ago to evacuate. Well, that year passed, he came back and began the process of trying to absorb the life energy. Now, with that being said, he's still nice enough to let the people evacuate, but this whole world is going to blow up. And when it does, anything around it will be affected. Anything around it could possibly die. Now, that is why you have Superman stepping in to make sure that those people are able to get away from their whole world while he fights against Harak. Now, this fight does last for a few pages, but the point of this fight is for us to watch Superman and not watch him fight, but to watch him fight to keep control of his body, because remember, that infection is slowly sinking in. It's slowly taking over his body. And so this is Superman trying to keep that virus at bay just long enough. But of course, it's slowly winning, and Superman is losing control of what he had moments ago. Now, getting back over to Lana Lang and Steel, who are right now in space trying to find Superman, they do get lucky because with that home world blowing up, Steel was able to detect that explosion. But here comes another problem, because while Lana Lang and Steel are in space, the signal that they were following is going back to Earth. Now, this same signal is the same one that put everyone in Smallville in a coma. And so this is Lana Lang realizing that signal is going to Earth once again, but to a different location. And that location is Metropolis. And so now the people in Metropolis have the potential of falling into comas just like the people in Smallville. And so you have Lana Lang call up Lois Lane. But here comes the big problem though. No one knows that Lois Lane is evil. Right now, Lois Lane is working for Brainiac, and that is huge. And so with the world, or really Metropolis, about to fall in a coma thanks to Brainiac once again, and you have Lana Lang trying to tell Lois Lane, you need to warn the people, Lois Lane is not going to warn the people because she's working with Brainiac. Now, back out in space, we do pick up with Steel and Lana Lang right now realizing that something else is coming towards the Earth. And of course, that something is Cyborg Superman. Now, this Cyborg Superman is the one we saw back in New 52 Supergirl. But this one is also the father of Supergirl, who's under Brainiac's control. And right now, it's Brainiac sending him and an army of robots to attack the Earth. And Steel and Lana Lang, they see this army coming, and they're kind of freaking out. Now, when we jump into the second chapter of this video, we actually continue to follow Lana Lang and Steel out in space. But now, they're fighting against the army of Brainiac. Now, here comes the big problem though. They're trying to call out for Superman, because Superman needs to know that Brainiac is coming. Lana Lang and Steel, they know Brainiac is coming. And so right now, they're trying to get close enough to call out for him in the middle of space. Now, luckily, they were just close enough to call out to Superman to tell him, hey, listen, right now, me and John Steel, we're about to be killed in space by these robots. So we need you to help us. On top of that, we have something very important to tell you. And that important information is that basically Brainiac is coming back to Earth. Earth needs its hero to protect it from Brainiac. And so you do have Superman appear, but this is Superman Doom, meaning that right now he looks more like Doomsday rather than Superman. And so you have Steel kind of freaked out, but then you have Steel say, maybe, just maybe, this is what we need to save our lives. But then we have to get back down to Earth. And the reason why, because remember what I said earlier, Lana Lang and Steel realized there was some kind of signal heading back to Earth. That same signal looked very familiar, and it could have been the same one that put the people in Smallville into comas. And so Lana Lang realized that signal was going to Metropolis. And right now, a small area in Metropolis has fallen into a coma. People in that area have fallen into comas. And so right now the military has that area quarantined and cut off from the rest of Metropolis. Now, you do have Lois Lane just walk up and walk through the guards. She walks right past the guards. And everyone who's watching it happen are kind of like, why in the world is Lois Lane able to walk through the guards so easily? What in the world is going on? But that is the moment you have Lois Lane reveal to the entire world that she is working for Brainiac. And matter of fact, her whole body changes into a Brainiac body. Like, look at her. She literally looks like Brainiac. Now, you do have Wonder Woman come down kind of like, hey, Lois, two things. One, what's happening in Metropolis? And two, what happened to you? And that is the moment you have Lois Lane say, Brainiac is coming and we need to clear the board. And she begins the process of attacking Wonder Woman. But we do get back over to Steel, Superman, and Lotta Lane, who are all in space right now at the moment. Now, with that being said, you have Superman wondering why in the world is Steel and Lotta Lane are out here in space. And that is the moment you have Steel explain everything and say, listen, Superman, while you were gone, Lotta Lane was able to figure out what put the people in Smallville into comas. She detected a signal. Now, they came to space looking for him, but at the same time to follow that signal. Now, while following that signal, Lotta Lane realized it belongs to Brainiac. But at the same time, the second signal went down to Metropolis. So now you have two towns full of people who are in comas. And so this is Lotta Lane is still saying, Brainiac is coming. That was his army that just passed by. You need to get back to Earth and save the day right now. Now, back on Earth with the battle between Wonder Woman and Lois Lane, this is Wonder Woman trying her best to reason with Lois Lane, to figure out what is wrong with her. Why is she working with Brainiac? But the problem is, Lois Lane does not want to listen. Lois Lane's kind of like, listen, sister, go ahead and fall to your knees and bow down now, because Brainiac is coming, and when he comes, the entire Earth is game over. Now, of course, this is Wonder Woman. She will not beg, she will not step down, she will always keep fighting until she dies. But with that being said, she is confronted by Metallo. Now remember, Metallo is a Superman villain who has a kryptonite heart for a heart. Now with that being said, the last time we saw Metallo in the New 52, well, he blew himself up with the bomb to release a deadly gas to kill Superman. This Metallo is a more messed up one. What I mean is that with Lois Lane having the memories of the last Metallo in her mind, because she's a psychic now, she basically downloaded those memories into another robot. Really messed up. So this robot right here really believes that he is the actual Metallo, alive and well. But of course now you have Wonder Woman fighting against him. Now, picking back up with Cyborg Superman, we do see him right now kind of going over what's happened so far with his army that is heading towards the Earth. But of course, that is the moment he gets word about his ships being attacked. And he's wondering who in the world are attacking his ships right now in the middle of space. And of course we know who that is. It's Superman Doom. And so now we're going to have Superman fight against Superman, really. But then we jump back over to Wonder Woman and Lois Lane, who are right now fighting against each other, and also Metallo helping Lois Lane to fight against Wonder Woman. Now, you do have Wonder Woman continue to fight against Metallo, and Metallo is really not a strong character. What I mean is that, yes, he has fought against Superman, and he has won some battles because, again, he has a kryptonite heart. So with that being said, this Metallo's heart does not affect Lois Lane. Also, this is not the real Metallo. Not Lois Lane. His heart does not affect Wonder Woman. But either way, you do have Wonder Woman actually defeat Metallo very easily. But she does let Lois Lane get away with the head of the new version of Metallo, which is very concerning for Wonder Woman. Now, getting back out in space, we do see Superman getting ready to fight against Cyborg Superman. Now, Clark Kent has no idea that Cyborg Superman is the actual father of his cousin, Supergirl. But either way though, they're about to fight against one another. But while they're getting ready to fight against one another, in the mind of Clark Kent, Doomsday Superman is trying to take over, and he is slowly taking over. So meaning that sooner or later, Superman will lose control of his Superman Doomsday. Now, getting into the third chapter of this storyline, we actually do pick up with a small battle between Cyborg Superman and our Superman Clark Kent. Now, this battle doesn't last long because to Cyborg Superman, two things. One, he realized that he does not stand a chance against Superman Doom. On top of that right there, he already completed his mission, which was to lead the army to Earth. And also he did some other things behind the scenes. And so now it's Cyborg Superman kind of like, listen, we're two of the last Kryptonians in the universe. And here we are fighting against one another. Now you're more powerful than me, but my boss gave me a task and I completed that task. So I'm going to leave before you rip off my other arm. But goodbye and watch the Earth burn. Now we do jump over to the Watchtower where we pick up with some members of the Justice League. Now this is very important because right now you have the Justice League trying to figure out what is coming towards their way, what is coming towards Earth. Now we know what it is. Of course it's Brainiac's army of robots, but then out of nowhere Cyborg is hit. He's taken down, not physically, but through his technology, his computer system, and so he was taken out. After that, the Watchtower defense system went down, and so with all that happening all at once, you have the Justice League begin to freak out. Now you do have Steel and Lana call in to Wonder Woman and the rest of the League to warn them, hey, this is what's coming your way to Earth right now. It's basically an army of Brainiac's robots. They're coming to Earth and we gotta get ready for it because there is a lot of them coming. And you have Wonder Woman tell Lana Lang like, yeah, we know they're coming. We just detected them. Like, we're trying to work out a plan. But that is the moment you have Lana Lang say, listen, I may know a way to actually kind of corrupt their system to get rid of some of them, to slow down this attack. Because when it comes to Lana Lang, this is her field. And so she's kind of like, if you let me help, we could possibly win this war. Now, outside the Watchtower, we do see Superman right now listening in. But that is the moment you have Lana Lang and Steel tell the rest of the Justice League that they were able to find Superman, which is very huge and great. But here comes the big problem though. You then have Batman chime in and say, hey, listen, Superman cannot come back to Earth because let's not forget what happened at the end of our last video. They used a kryptonite gas bomb, and that gas has spread all over the entire planet of Earth. And so with that, if Superman flies back in, that could be a huge problem because remember, Superman is trying to fight against the infection in his body. And so if he goes down there and gets hit with that kryptonite gas, he'll be too weak to fight against the infection in his body, which means Superman Doomsday will finally take over. And that could lead to the end of, well, Earth and possibly other planets in the universe. And so right now is everyone kind of like wondering, what can Superman do to actually help us out? Now, either way, you still have Superman fly down to help out the different members of the Justice League. Now, with that being said though, as soon as he flies in and takes out more robots for each member of the League, well, he realized that the kryptonite gas is still in the air. And so right now he's fighting against two different battles inside his body. The kryptonite gas that is basically weakening him right now, and also the doomsday infection that is trying to take over his body. And so it's Superman flying away, trying to fight against both battles in his body right now. Now, you do have Wonder Woman call up Batman, and this is her saying, Batman, do you have a plan? Because Batman is one of the smartest people in DC Comics. And this is Batman saying yes. Now, you also have Wonder Woman kind of worried about Batman because she believes that Batman could possibly use this moment as a way to go ahead and kill off Superman. But right now, this is a Batman kind of like, I do not want to kill him unless we have to. But right now, a world with Superman is better than a world without Superman. So trust me on this one. I have a plan to hopefully save him. But this war is taking place all over the earth, everywhere. And so with this war taking over all over the world right now, you have different members of the Justice League, the superhero community, coming together to fight against this invasion. But that is the moment you have Cyborg realize they're losing this battle. And right now, they need to find a way to actually stop Brainiac and his army of robots. But here comes the next problem. Let's not forget about Cyborg Superman, because he's not done yet. What I mean is that he's talking to one of his robots to see how many robots that they have lost from their army. And the robot tells him only 5%. 5% has only been killed. That still leaves 95% of Brainiac's army on Earth right now, wreaking havoc, and the heroes are struggling. But that is the moment you have Cyborg Superman building something very big and powerful. And so with that, you have Steel and Lana Lang see him building something. And so this is Steel saying that, listen, I have to go out there and actually fight against Cyborg Superman, because we have no idea what in the world he's building. It could possibly bring Brainiac here to Earth. So I need to go out there and stop him, but to also destroy that machine he's building. But getting back over to Superman right now, even though Superman is taking out all the different robots in the area, inside his mind, he's fighting against Superman Doomsday, who's trying to take over his mind. It's the infection that is growing and growing. And so even though on the outside it seems like he's in control, but inside he's losing control. The kryptonite is basically weakening him. He's losing control and he can't fight against the infection of Doomsday. And so as the battle goes on, we do see Superman begin to change. He becomes more savage, like Doomsday. Now, you do have Wonder Woman step in, but of course, this is her trying to fight against her man, because remember, at this point in the New 52, these two characters were dating one another. But either way, this is her kind of like, I have to stop my man. I have to stop him to save the Earth and to hopefully find a way to cure him, because we need him right now to fight against Brainiac. But then we jump back over to Cyborg Superman fighting against Steel. Now, this is not a fair fight for Steel. And the reason why I say that is because Steel is fighting a Superman. He's maybe a cyborg, but he still is a Superman, meaning that he's still strong. He's hard to defeat. He's hard to stop. And so right now, you basically have Steel lose that battle. Now, Lana Lang does step in to help out Steel, but that is the problem right there, though. She's a regular human being with only a couple small-time weapons, and that is it. So you have Cyborg Superman attack her spaceship, which of course means now Steel must go save her and go back to Earth, because she might die soon being out in space. And so of course Steel was unable to stop Cyborg Superman and to also stop whatever he is making out in space. But getting back down to Earth, you do have Superman and Wonder Woman continue to fight against one another. And it does look like inside the mind of Clark Kent that he's basically losing that battle. That sooner or later he is going to turn into Superman Doomsday or Doomsday Superman. Either way, it does seem like all hope is lost. But that is the moment you have Batman call in. And Batman says, yo, the kryptonite gas is gone from the Earth. Superman may be able to actually fight against the infection full strength now. And just like that, bam, he was able to get rid of the infection. Not completely, but to push it back just enough to have complete control and to look normal again in front of Wonder Woman. To let her know, hey, I'm back for right now. I still have the infection inside of me, but I'm back. Let's go. It's time to save the Earth. But here comes the big problem though. That machine that Cyborg Superman was making out in space was a teleporter. It opens up. And of course, what comes through? The biggest ship you've seen this whole event. And of course, who is on that biggest ship? Brainiac. Brainiac has arrived to Earth to begin his mission to conquer the Earth. And so now it's Superman, the Justice League, all the heroes have to work together to fight against Brainiac to save the Earth once again. Now, when it comes to the fourth chapter of this storyline, it actually takes place moments before Batman was able to get the kryptonite gas out of the air so that Superman has a fair chance of fighting against the kryptonite gas and a fight against the Doomsday infection. And so we pick up with Lois Lane. Now, with that being said, we do see Lois Lane right now basically helping Brainiac take over the Earth, because you have to remember that right now she's working with Brainiac. Now, if you're wondering how in the world that happened, let me explain. It all took place in the storyline called Psywar. Now, Psywar was a big Superman storyline where you had a new organization known as Hive that came out of nowhere. Now, Hive was working for Brainiac, but Hive was looking for the 20 people that Brainiac gave powers to. Now, with that being said, one of the 20 people that gained psychic abilities thanks to Brainiac gave their powers over to Lois Lane so that Lois Lane could warn the public about Brainiac coming back, but also how Hive, this new evil organization, is trying to capture 20 people to help out Brainiac. Now, with that being said, Lois Lane did not warn the public because right after she gained her powers, she fell in a coma and other things kept happening over and over and over. And while those things kept happening, well, Brainiac finally took over her body. And so we see inside her mind right now, she's trying to break free to get control of her body, but unfortunately she can't. Brainiac has control over her body now and using her body as a way to direct the army on Earth on how to attack the Earth in different ways. Now, we do pick up with Batman and the smartest people on the planet Earth. Now remember, like I said earlier, the fourth chapter, this chapter, it takes place right before Batman is able to get rid of the kryptonite gas in the air. And so right now you have Batman, Lex Luthor, and a few other characters trying to figure out how in the world are they going to remove the kryptonite gas in the air to give Superman a fighting chance. Because right now, he's still Superman Doomsday at the moment at this point in the storyline. Speaking of Superman, we do see him right now helping out Red Hood and the Outlaws fight against more robots by Brainiac. Now remember, like I said, once again, this takes place right before the kryptonite gas. And so we see a Superman Doomsday helping out Red Hood and the Outlaws. But remember our first video when it came to Superman Doom. When Doomsday first appeared back again on Earth, well, apparently everything around him kept dying, catching on fire, different things kept happening. He basically was a walking tank wreaking havoc wherever he went to, and he did not have to do anything at all because he had some kind of aura around him that would cause destruction. And so with that being said, you have Superman having that same aura right now where everything around him is falling apart, people getting sick, people getting hurt. And so you have Red Hood and the Outlaws in the public asking Superman to leave because right now he's causing problems left and right. Now, getting back over to Batman, we do see Batman and his team still working on the way to get rid of that kryptonite gas. Now, with that being said, we come to find out that they are holding on to a special person, and that special person is, of course, the Phantom King. Now remember, the Phantom King is the first person ever to be locked up in the Phantom Zone. And so with that being said, Superman has fought against the Phantom King a couple times here and there in the New 52. But the Phantom King is right now locked up in some kind of device that Batman made. But he is breaking free, meaning that if he breaks free, the heroes have another problem on their hands besides Brainiac and Superman do. They'll also have Phantom King on their hands as well. Now, you do have Harrow, who is the leader of this organization known as the Tower, kind of use her powers to contain Phantom King just long enough for Batman to find a way to finally get rid of the kryptonite gas. Now, getting back over to Superman, we actually do see him meeting up with Martian the Manhunter, where of course he does continue to help Martian the Manhunter fight against more robots that were made by Brainiac. Now here comes the big problem though. Martian the Manhunter wants Superman to leave the Earth again, because to Martian the Manhunter, he's kind of like, dude, you're causing us a lot of problems right now. Brainiac is attacking, and right now the whole league is worried that sooner or later that infection inside of you is going to finally take over and you are going to wreak havoc across the earth alongside Brainiac. And so with that being said, it's Martian the Manhunter telling him to leave. But that is the moment you have Ghost Soldier appear. Now, Ghost Soldier has the ability to make other people intangible. But either way, you have Ghost Soldier bring over Baka. Now, Baka is a character who first appeared back in the early days of the New 52. Now, when it comes to Baka, he is just a kid who has the ability to turn into a dinosaur-like creature. Now, Superman kind of took up the role as big brother for Baka. And so when Baka does get infected by the Doomsday aura around Superman and he is forced to turn into his dinosaur form, it kind of motivates Superman to keep fighting against the infection and to hopefully beat it and hopefully save the Earth from Brainiac. Now, getting back to Batman and his team, we actually pick up at the moment where you had Wonder Woman call up Batman to tell him he needs to find a way to get rid of the kryptonite gas in the air to help out Superman. Because like earlier in the video, they all said this, Earth is better with Superman rather than without Superman. And so right now it's Wonder Woman telling Batman, you need to figure out how in the world you are going to save Superman and the entire Earth at this moment. Now we do pick up with Superman and Baka fighting together against the robots made by Brainiac. Now with all that being said, you do have our two characters actually run into Lois Lane. Now for Superman, he's shocked to see that Brainiac has control over Lois Lane. And so with that, you have Superman begin the process of talking to Lois Lane to help her break free, because he knows if he talks to her and help her mind fight against Brainiac's mind, he could possibly help her break free, which of course it does work. She does break free and she does turn back to normal. Now you would think they would have a heart-to-heart moment, because remember, in the New 52, they never dated. They do not like each other like that because Superman is dating Wonder Woman. But right before he's able to talk to Lois Lane, he realized that the Doomsday infection is taken over, and so he has to fly away to basically protect Lois Lane. But to go ahead and wrap up this video, we actually do pick up right at the moment where you have Batman being able to get rid of the kryptonite gas in the air. And with him doing that, of course, means that Superman is back. And so is Krypto the Super Dog, because apparently he was also infected by the kryptonite gas. But either way, now both dog and man are back together once again to help the rest of the heroes fight against Brainiac. And so where we are going to end today's comic book video is right where we left off at in the last chapter. Brainiac arriving to Earth and getting ready to take over the Earth. And so with that being said, I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video. And if you do, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also guys, I'm sick, so my voice may sound a little off. Please forgive me. But either way, I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video. Later, guys.